Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner. Now, the information on today's program was gathered from many different places, from many different people. If you hear yourself in the conversation, it is not all about you. Now, for personal appearances or asking us to come and do an instruction at your world, all you have to do is go to our website, ewfw.org, and send us a little message, and we'll be glad to get to you as fast as we can. Or give us a call, 727-422-1833, 727-422-1833, and myself or Miss Robin will pick up that call, and we'll be glad to help you out. Now, today, here on Leadership Corner, we're going to start off with some fun things, because I believe a lot of times when we talk about leadership, we get so serious that we need to sometimes break out of that a little bit. So I'm going to share with you today things I learned while digging fence post holes. Now, I don't know if any of you had that pleasure growing up to dig some fence post holes, but I'm going to tell you what, it's a long day, and it depends on how hard the dirt is and rocks on how your day goes. So the first thing the first thing I learned is blisters hurt when broken and washed. I learned that the hard way the first day on the job. I had about 144 posts to put in. Every 6 feet, dig a hole, put a post. Every 6 feet, dig a hole, put a post. And by lunchtime, my hands were pretty raw. Well, that night going back, I had to get cleaned up, and I remember sticking them in the wash pan there to get cleaned up, and oh man, those blisters, as they broke and popped, and they were not happy campers. So they put some lemon on there, and the next day, foreman gave me a pair of gloves. He says, "I don't know why you didn't pick up a pair before you left yesterday, but I guess you're a new Wrangler." Now, the next thing I learned while digging fence post holes was sweat burns when it runs down into your eyes. You need to wear a folded bandana around your head, or have one close to mop that sweat. But if you've got one around your head, it keeps it from rolling in there, and you can keep on working. Because if you got a set number of posts to do before the end of the day, before you can go back to the ranch, the sooner you get them done, the sooner you're done. Not spending your time mopping sweat. Now, I'll tell you something else I learned. Working hard all day, you'll sleep sound at night. And you know what? That doesn't matter what you're doing. I have some good friends that work in those cubicles and those high rises in those big cities, and I see them where they put in a long day. First of all, they have to get up early and ride those commuter trains an hour and a half into work, and then they work for 8 or 10 hours and then have to ride that thing back. Most of them are doing 12-hour days and getting paid for 8. But it's a long day. You'll sleep sound if you did a good job. Another thing I learned while digging fence post holes is when you have to work for your money, you don't spend it easily on extras. Now I'm going to tell you what, after you worked all week on the ranch digging fence post holes, I'm going to tell you what, and you get paid, you think about what you're going to spend that money on, and you take and choose real wisely where you're going to put it away. Thankfully, I had an old cowboy who took me alongside and said, "Son, every dollar you make, you put 10 cents away for when you get old like me. And you won't have to work when you're old like me." Well, it's worked out pretty good. But I'll tell you what, working hard won't hurt anybody. A little dirt on your hands washes right off. Now, another thing I learned is you need a good hat. You need a good hat to have on to keep you from the sun, the rain, the cold. But wear it the right way. If you got a cowboy hat on, that's good. Wear a cowboy hat. Protect your ears and the rest of all. But if you're wearing a baseball cap, let me tell you something. They put the bill out in front so it protects your eyes. They didn't put that bill back there to keep your neck from getting red. Wear it face forward, do it right. Simple stuff. Now, another thing I learned was that sunglasses are not to just look cool. They protect your eyesight. So when you get old like me, your cataracts aren't so bad. But there's more to it than that. You see, protecting your eyesight is going to be really critical when you're outdoors all your whole life. But what I have found is those folks I was telling you about living in those high rises and whatnot, they're more susceptible to that ozone and other things that tear up your eyeballs than we are out here in the woods. Wear your sunglasses. It's good for you. But don't get them just because they're cool. Get ones that are polarized. Get ones that keep your eyes protected. Now this next one, I have to tell you, I learned really young when I got my first vehicle. And it was something I watched other people do, so I didn't do it. But mag wheels will not make your car go faster. I watched some people spend some money on those mag wheels and on their old junk car. The wheels and tires were worth more than the car. You know me, I just painted my rims and they look cool enough for me. But you know what? Mag wheels do not make your car go faster. It just doesn't happen. Now, I'll tell you another thing I learned, though. A good, clean interior on that pickup truck will impress the girls. And if you got junk laying around in there or it's filthy, they're not going to want to crawl up in that seat and get all snugly up close to you. So get that thing cleaned out before you take and invite a young lady to climb up on in there. Good thing to remember. And you know what? Scrape your boots before you get in. Oh, that brings us up to number 9. Here it says a good pair of boots will save your feet and your back. No doubt about it. I remember when I was a lineman, my first pair of lineman boots cost more than I got paid for the whole week. And I came home and told my loving Miss Robin I was going to have to go buy a pair of lineman boots. She said, well, how much they cost? I said, about $150. And she said, well, that's more than you made all week. What are we going to eat? I said, well, we'll put a couple of dollars away and I'll suffer through for the next couple of weeks. And that's exactly what I did until we had enough money to go down and get those boots. You know, you just got to do what you got to do. But boy, am I thankful I bought a good pair. And the last one here I want to share with you about things I learned about putting down fence posts. Never start your day by counting the posts that need dug. Count when the day is done. You know, one of the biggest things I ever learned was that when you've got a job, just get to it. If you start timing out what's going, how long it's going to take, and all those kind of things, you know what? You waste a lot of time. We learned really quickly that if we just laid out the fence posts approximately 6 feet apart down the run, laid the string down, and went to work, you get a lot done. So, got something to do? Do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed these things that I learned while putting down fence posts, but I'll tell you what, each and every one of them has something to do with running yourself and running your business. There you go, some good stuff. Now we're going to jump into some little more serious things because I know that you're looking for the Leadership Wrangler to share something about leadership, and so we're going to get right to it. Here it is. This one's called Your Actions Respond to Your Contractions. I tell you what, so often I hear these words. My boss is such a jerk. He and she does not know what they're doing. Who treats people like that? Or worse. You see, the person does not understand that they are sending a message to their brain and to their body looking for a response. The response in this case will be a lack of enthusiasm. Yeah. That lack of enthusiasm for the job starts to rub off. The unwillingness to do the work asked or told to do, and the need to vent or gossip. Time waster. And the total lack of respect of the individual, themselves, and those who they're working with and for. You see, the brain does not know the difference between good or bad. It just knows a response is called for. That's pretty amazing stuff when you think about it. So here's what I'm going to tell you all. Each and every one of us has a choice. Our lives are made up of choices. And some say, you know, good choices come from making bad choices. But I think you can learn from yourself, make some bad ones, but I think you can learn from other people too to make those good choices. But the choice is always yours. No one else's, yours. You see, that's a fact. And what we put in our minds, so are our choices that come out. Now, the first choice that I'm going to lay into you about is I'm going to lay into you this thing about quitting. You know, hey, quitters never prosper. You know, you hear that all the time, but what it means is a lot of people quit and forget to tell their body. They just kind of go through the motions. And they haven't really said to themselves, I quit. But if you say I quit, make sure that you have something else lined up that's bigger, better, faster, quicker, supports your family. Because that, my friends, is what a good leader does. Now, another choice you could take and have is you could stay and be miserable to yourself and all those around you. And I'll tell you what, if you do that, you're not only a worthless employee, but you're worthless to yourself. Think about it. You stay and be miserable, and who do you come home to? You come home to your family and you're miserable to your family. That's not good. At work, you're miserable to all those around you and your production falls off, and all of a sudden you're called in, the boss says, hey, I don't think I need you anymore. So if you're truly miserable, find something different. But don't quit this one until you do. Remember, family first. Now, for me, I have to tell you that I have learned that I need to set my own expectations. Now, I always ask the employer or someone who's employing me what their expectations of what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do it. And I ask for that in writing, by the way. So there's no misunderstandings of what I thought and what they thought. But I'll tell you what, if you look at those expectations, you can set the expectations of how you want to be treated. You see, everyone is a leader, and you can do it from the middle as well as from the bottom or the top. But first you have to lead yourself, and that's a choice. People say, Dick, well, did you love your job those 30 years that you worked at that same company? And I'll say, heck no. I didn't love every single day. I didn't love every single manager or boss I worked for. The difference was I was looking on down the road. Family first. It was a great job, taking care of my family, paid well. We could go on vacation. I sent the kids to college and all the rest of those happy things that go with it. Think about it. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Are you willing to put up with some things? But it's all about the choice you make on how you respond to it. I set my expectations that I was going to respond in a certain way and I was going to be treated a certain way. And when I told them that's the way I was treated. Sounds simple? It wasn't. The next thing is a thing that you might really think about. You see, change thoughts and words spoken and silent from negative to positive. When you spout negative words all day long, you cannot expect a positive result. And when you get up in the morning, I found that I had to sometimes give myself some positive reinforcement sayings that I would keep mumbling during the day, or I'd keep reading on the paper, or whatever it was, or I'd find them in my lunchbox. The reason for that is not every day was a happy day. Not every day was something that you look forward to. But you know what? When I started to change my thoughts to positive things and put positive things in my brain, it was amazing to me how positive things started happening, not just in my job, but in my family life also. So there's a choice to be made. Now, another choice you could have is accept and learn to deal with the situation. You see, that one there is what I tell people. People come into our office and they say, Dick, I not only hate myself, I hate my job, I hate my family, I hate. And so we start looking at the situation they're in. And we're always asking these questions. What are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Well, first you have to answer that for yourself. What does this mean to you? What does that look like to you? What's going to make you happy? You see, you can't depend on happiness from somebody sitting next to you. It's got to be yours. And accept and deal with the situation. You know, a lot of times I just had to do that. I had to accept it and deal with it and move on. But those 30 years that I worked at that large corporation, I never did the same job. I always was moving from job to job every 3 or 4 years, learning something new, moving ahead. And when I left that job, I was prepared to work and build my own company. I was using all those things that I had learned there somewhere else. So I accepted and learned from it. I dealt with it. You know, and I saw my family grow up. I had the time to be there. Now the next choice is a little different. Next choice is you can accept the situation and search for a better fit. And that's fine. Go back to school, get some learning, new trade, whatever, while you're doing it. But don't give up where you're at and just walk away until you're prepared to go to the next. So many times I see people that come in and tell me, well, I just quit. I just couldn't stand anymore. I just quit. I said, well, what do you got? You got any money saved up? You put anything away? Did you make any plans? No, I just quit. So what are you going to do now? Well, I don't know, Dick. That's why I came to you. You're going to help me, right? Well, yeah, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to help you go down to McDonald's and get a job. Well, I don't want to work there. Well, you know what? You need to work someplace till you take and figure this thing out. You see, each one of these choices is your choice. The choice to quit, the choice to stay and be miserable to yourself and those around you, the choice to set the expectations of treatment and be a leader, to change the thoughts and words spoken and silent from negative to positive. A choice. The choice to accept and learn to deal with the situation. And of course, a choice to accept the situation and search for a better fit. Now I'm going to tell you, these aren't just all your choices. You see, the choices go on and on. They tell us that we make thousands of choices in any one day. Your first choice, of course, is to open your eyes and wake up. Sometimes that just comes natural, but sometimes it doesn't. And then the next choice is, what am I going to do for my day? Now, my grandfather told me at an early age, because he raised me, and he would say, you know, you need to get out of bed, but you've got a choice to make when your feet hit the floor. Are you going to be happy today? Are you going to be satisfied with what you have? Or are you going to be angry of what you don't have? and unhappy all day. I've heard him say that more than once, and while I was growing up, and I didn't quite understand it so much maybe at the time, but I do now. And the choice is every morning when you wake up, you have a choice to either make your day or break your day. Either enjoy the folks around you or not. Good stuff. I'm telling you what, this is good stuff. So your actions respond to your contractions. You betcha they do. I'm going to tell you, I hope you enjoyed that segment because I really enjoyed putting it together just for you. This last piece in this section for today, maybe a little more serious. I don't think so. You know, you leaders, I enjoy this stuff so much. I enjoy sharing leadership traits and leadership opportunities with you so much. This one is called Your Personal Compass. Now, I don't know how many of you grew up with a compass in your pocket like we did, but we grew up out in the woods, and everybody knows I grew up in the swamp. And I'll tell you what, you can get turned around pretty darn quick in there. But when was your moral compass set to your true north is what we're going to talk about today. When was your moral compass set to your true north? Can you remember where you were and whom you were with when it happened? Has your true north ever been or ever had to be needed a correction? You see, those things are pretty darn important to answer. Now, the perimeters, we're going to talk about this. True north, of course, corresponds with the North Pole, which is a geographic meridian. Okay, it's there. It doesn't move, and those are really what I talk about: your values and your morals. Now, of course, there's magnetic north, which pulls the magnetized needle on a compass. We'll call those our social norms. And I'm not so sure we have too many of them left. And then the declination. And the declination is the difference between true north and north. Magnetic north. Got it? True north and magnetic north. It's the difference between. And these are what I call your personal drivers. You see, my grandfather set my compass early when I was early age. From him, I gathered at an early age the art of self-reliance and a work ethic. Of course, then there was Lord Baden-Powell and Ernest Thomas Seton and Daniel Carter Beard and, a military officer and an artist and writer and naturalist and backwoodsman. The Scouting Handbook was my guide through manhood. And I remember quite well standing at attention in my self-pressed uniform, proudly repeating the 12 points of Scout Law. I remember like it was yesterday because my grandfather said, if you're going to go out in a uniform, it's going to be pressed, it's going to be starched. This is what you do. And so he showed me how to starch it and press it and use the iron and things. And I think I did a pretty good job, but I can remember standing there repeating with my arm up, saying a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And I've lived closely by those 12 points in my youth as well as I do today. It amazes to me when I meet an older gentleman and I ask them about the 12 points of Scout Law, they all can rattle them off and tell you exactly what each one of them means. And I see that they've lived their life that way. The meeting and studying with Stephen Covey caused a great awakening of sense in my direction. I went to one of his seminars on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen, being a scout himself, pulled out of his front pocket an old, well-used compass. He asked the audience to stand. He instructed everyone to close their eyes and point north. A few moments later, he spoke saying to open your eyes and see the people around you. There were people pointing in many different directions, only a few of us pointing north. A skill learned long ago as a young scout, when everyone had sat back down with the laughter and good-natured poking fun. Stephen clearly pointed out that when you are not intentional of your surroundings, it is hard to be intentional about living your life. Since that time, I have had many corrections of my magnetic north. Always correcting my personal true north. To know your true north, you must know what your non-negotiables are. What you will and will not do, and what you stand for and be. The map you leave for others to follow is the legacy of living the best life you can. Leaders, I think we have a responsibility. We have a duty. A duty. I'm telling you that it's more than what most of us accept. I've spent most of my life working with the youth of tomorrow and today. I've had the pleasure of watching some grow up, become men and women throughout our organization, throughout our community. I've seen them go into the services. I've seen them go to the organizations, the different colleges. I mean, I've seen them grow. And what is amazing to me now that I'm in my later years, how they come by the house and they bring their wives and their children. And I see that they have locked in living by these set of rules. I see that they've used the ongoing continuous learning power that they learned such as young people. I've seen them craft their lives and those of their spouses and their children in a way that moves ahead the thought process that there is plenty for everyone. This whole thing of knowing your values and morals is important. It's important that you can share those with others and also help them find theirs. Leaders, it's important that you know the social norms. And right now, the social norms, especially for word usage, I'm going to tell you, shocks me from time to time. I don't believe in vulgarity, and I think I'm just so tired of hearing it that it's not even in my civil discourse language. And I surely wish I could push it out of everyone else's. But knowing the difference between your true and your magnetic north, what your personal drivers are, what drives you as a leader, as a coach, as a mentor, as someone that people look up to, as someone who is really designing their legacy and maybe not even know it. So I guess I asked the question to you, and I hope you ask the question to those around you as leaders. Are you ready to discover or rediscover your personal true north? On behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our goal is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you build your leadership ability. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, send me an email, dick@leadershipwrangler.com, dick@leadershipwrangler.com. Give me a phone call, 727-422-1833, 727-422-1833. Go to the website, ewfw.org. Send me a message. Hey, say I agreed or I disagreed. Do something that they can let me know that you're out there and having a good time. Well, until next time, DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.